Hey guys, brand new Rolling Heritage video. Today we're gonna do something that I've gotten a lot of questions about. Volvo 240 B230 head gaskets. So they're in Volvo 240s, 740s, 940s and go on. The simple 4-cylinder Redblock Volvo. We have Robin's car over here, and if you've been watching this channel for a longer time, then you might know Robin over there.
Hello.
And he has a Volvo 240 from 1980? 91. So this thing has a B230F and it has a blown head gasket. It has been pressing coolant up out of the system with exhaust gases and stuff. So we're pretty sure that this thing has a blown head gasket. And in this video we're going to show you how you can step by step swap out a cylinder head or get your old cylinder head off to be fixed, flattened, done, and then how you can put it back with all the torque specs, all the parts, all the tools you need, and go on. And we're going to start off by taking off the cooling fan. So that means 2 bolts over here, and sometimes they are 8mm, sometimes they're Phillips head, and sometimes they are Torx. But we get them off, and then you can unmount 3 or 4 little 10mm nuts over there to get your cooling fan off. And when the cooling fan is off, you can then take off your complete pulley from the water pump and this fan cover. So Robin is actually dismounting the coolant nipple.
I'm trying.
I'm just going to get in his face with the camera.
I'm trying, can see
so
anything.
over there you can see the...
Here's the other end. Here's come coolant out.
So we have a bucket beneath there. And this is the original coolant drain for a B230. B21, every single Volvo engine has it. But that's what you use to get the coolant out of the engine. If it works, it works. And if it works, everything gets wet. But most of the time it only works when you take that off.
Yay!
And now we have some coolant coming out, as you can see. So we just let that drain while we are taking off the intake manifold. I'm not going to take anything apart. We're going to dismount all these intake bolts, intake manifold nuts, and then we can just slide this whole intake manifold to the side while we take the head off the engine. So the next step, after you have undone the intake manifold, as you can see it's loose, it can just stay like this. There's no harm done in it, just leaving it hang like that. You can take 2 bolts off your thermostat housing, these 2 bolts, 10mm, and then we are gonna remove the valve cover. I've shown you guys how you can take off the pulleys and the belts and everything from the water pump and the power steering pump. Then we have the cover for the timing belt. There's a 10mm bolt down there and a 12mm bolt down there. And over here I have a nice picture for you guys, so you can see clearly where all the bolts are at. And depending on the year of your Volvo 240, you will either have a Torx or a Phillips head screw screwed in from the back near your oil cap on your valve cover. So this should be enough for you to remove these caps. We have a tensioner, and if you undo the tensioner 1 turn, that's very tight. You can undo it like that, and if Robin holds the camera, the thing you can do right then is I use a tire iron and I press it against this thing over there. Then you can press the tensioner inward, tighten the nut, and that will lock the tensioner in the back position, and now your belt is loose, and now you can take off your timing belt. It's recommended to replace the timing belt every single time that you take it off, because they're not that expensive, and yeah, you don't want it failing. The other thing is, a water pump is only 30 bucks. So if you have a very dirty old water pump, you might also want to replace that, but that's not what we're going to do today because that thing is almost brand new on this car. But I will show you guys everything on timing belts and how you time the whole engine when we have the new cylinder head on, but that is later on in the video. Right now, Robin is going to take off his valve cover. So the valve cover are only 10mm bolts. There are a couple all around there, and you can undo it. And then you should have a gasket. And that's what's left of it. Yeah, that was a gasket, as you can see. But that's that. Robin has a VX3 camshaft, which is a sportier Volvo camshaft. So we're going to swap this camshaft over in our new cylinder head we have over here. This thing has been cleaned. All the valves have been checked. I'm going to flip it on its back and look at that. All the intake valves have been relapped, redone by a company next to me. And the cylinder head has also been flattened. So it's all machined down. Everything is nice and brand new. You don't need to do that always, but I do it because I work on a lot of customer cars, and for me it's only around 70 or 80 bucks for a complete rebuild with the valves and everything else. This one was, I think, 170 bucks. But yeah, still, it's an engine and it will last a whole lot longer than when you do this instead of you don't do it. So yeah, I recommend bring it to a machine shop and just remount the whole thing a day later, because most of the time, the day later you have it back. For now, we need to take off the complete tensioner. This spring, the tensioner. We need to take off the sprocket on the camshaft. When we have the sprocket off, we can then remove this plastic cover. And when that's removed, I'm going to show you how you can try to take off your exhaust manifold. And most of the time, these things are a pain in the ass and everything is rusted out. This one is also decent. Actually, all these are very decent except this one over here, as you can see. But I have the feeling we can still get that off. So I'm going to try it, and if it doesn't work, then we will just take off the cylinder head, get the whole thing on the workbench, and then we need to take the welder, weld the nut on there, and get it off that way. But if you can do that on your own, you can also take off the cylinder head with the complete manifold by undoing 3 downpipe bolts over here. One over there, one in the back, and one over here. And then you can just keep the whole exhaust manifold on your cylinder head and just swap out the head gasket. Let's go. So over here we're gonna remove the timing belt tensioner. You can see I have here a very tiny screwdriver, and we need that to remove this thing. So there's a huge spring with a weird kind of bolt, and you need to press that little screwdriver in a little hole which is in there from factory. So right over there you can see me putting the screwdriver in the little hole, and then we're gonna loosen up the center bolt, which you can see over there, and then the spring will decompress against that little screwdriver or pin or what you want to use. You can also use a nail. Then you can remove the complete nut and the washer, and it will just slide out. We need to replace this because when you put a new timing belt on your engine, you will get a new one. So you can put this on your vise, or yeah, I also can put it down and just press on the spring with my hand and take the screwdriver out. But that's how you remove your timing belt tensioner, and also how you mount it. The next thing we need to do is remove your camshaft sprocket. And that's gonna be a bit difficult because you might need a special tool. As you can see over here, I have some vice grips which I had laying around from my moped time and my motorcycle time. And this thing has 2 bent ends, and it actually fits perfectly fine in a Volvo B230 sprocket. I think these things are like 20 bucks on Amazon, so it might be a good thing to snag one of these up for that tiny amount of money, because it will make your job a whole lot easier. As you can see, I put this thing in the sprocket, and now I can take my ratchet and I can just turn that little socket you can see on there in the center, and then I can take off the sprocket and also remount it in the similar way. because when we mount it, we need a torque wrench and you need to torque this thing down. But to take it loose, just use a normal ratchet, get that special vice grip in there, and you can just undo that bolt that way. No problem at all, as you can see. Robin is actually taking off the heat shield you see over there, and when the heat shield is off, we can then attack the manifold bolts below there, and that's a bit of a hassle always, because those bolts you see over there, that one, that one, that one, that one, and the three below there, can be a bit of a pain of getting off the manifold and out of the cylinder head, because it's an aluminum cylinder head with steel bolts, and that can just be... So the thing you can do is grab a socket which fits snugly over the bolt that is like stripped out or like broken, and then take a hammer, smack that socket on there. I recommend using a cheap socket or like one you have like spare laying in the toolbox, but if you just tap them on there, most of the time they will just come out. If it doesn't work, if they snap off, you need a welder to fix it, or just bring your head to a machine shop and they will get the old studs out of there for you. So good luck with this part. So we have 10 bolts, which are pretty long and pretty stubborn and pretty tight. So what you need is a big breaker bar. So we have this thing, and we have a 14 millimeter socket on there because the bolts are 14 millimeter. And now Robin is gonna one by one undo them. But there is a trick for this to keep your cylinder head straight as possible. So if you have a new cylinder head already with you, it's pretty nice, because L-ring, the kind I like the most, because they have a extra sealing ring on the outside, and yeah, I just like the brand. You will find that there is a specific torque specification on every bolt, and you will also find something like this inside of your new head gasket thing, which says that you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. That is actually the torque specification of the bolts and like the order that you need to tighten them in. So it's always a bit difficult. Do you need to put your paper like that or like that? I normally do it like this. So this is the way we should take them apart, but not in a way like 1, 2, 3, 4. No, in a way like 10, 9, just counting backwards. So I'm just gonna stick this one over here so we can make no mistakes. And now Robin can undo all the bolts.
Ready?
And now, yeah, undo them. Yep, perfect.
It's 10.
Just undoing them a slight bit is enough. You don't need to like pull them out completely directly. Scary? Nothing scary about it, man. They can only break, and it will only take like 2 days longer. But yeah,
2 days crying.
2 days of crying in the corner, and then 10 minutes of fixing it. Actually,
I hate that noise.
God damn, boy.
Number 6 was quite loose.
That's not good. That's not good either. Nice, that's it. So now we should have a loose cylinder head. The thing we're gonna do now is I'm gonna first take off these bolts. So Robin is now gonna take the intake, and now I'm gonna, that connector needs to go. I'm just gonna shove the head back a bit, because there is still a hose clamp of the heater hose below in there, all the way down there between the fourth and the third cylinder. It's actually a hose which runs to your firewall, and that is actually the hose that gives your firewall warm water. That's that. Okay. One head gasket. Now let's hope this thing is broken. It was definitely cylinder 1. Black, 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 white. And if you take the head gasket over here, you can actually see it, that number 1 is a very black spot over here, and this coolant channel is completely torn apart. So that's where coolant went inside of the cylinder, and then the cylinder came up and it pressed it outside of the exhaust valve, and then it came in the exhaust, and that's why your coolant line is also filling with exhaust gases, because when the piston came up, it was pressing coolant out in the exhaust, but also exhaust fumes in the cooling system, and that's why this container down here was actually full of exhaust gases. All these cooling channels and oil passages look pretty damn nice. So we're gonna clean that off. We're gonna turn the engine over and just clean up the pistons, clean up everything we see. We're gonna take a look inside of the cylinder walls, look for scratches and stuff. And when that's all nice and clean, we're just gonna leave it there. We're gonna go to the workbench, and then on the workbench we can go and make the new head gasket ready for the car, new head ready for the car, and then we're just gonna swap heads here to make this job a one-day job. Okay, we have the old cylinder head and we have a new cylinder head. These are both 530 heads. 530 head means that on the side of the head, on the intake side, there is a code over here which reads 530. So over here there's a code 1000530. You can also have a 5301 head. That means it's a faster head, but it's all combinations of camshafts, heads, ports, sizes, and go on. So the camshaft I have over here, this one is a M, and on the end of the camshaft, I don't know if you guys can see it, but right at my finger you can see over there there's an M engraved in the camshaft. So this one has been standing in that cylinder head for the past, I think, 10 years or something. So this one is a bit rusty. I'm not going to use this one because Robin over here has a VX3. This means this is a camshaft which actually supposed to be in the 531 head, the faster head, which you can find on the 940 B230 FB. But for the most part, I think we all have 530 heads. If you have a KJet head or like a B21A head or stuff, it's all the same. Some have exhaust ports more, like EGR ports. I don't care. It's all the same. So we have a camshaft. You have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 bearing caps, which actually hold the camshaft down onto the cups. The cups are below here, and these cups are shaped like this. There is a little turning plate on top of the cap, which is an adjustment plate. You can adjust these plates to max out or like get higher or lower valve clearance, which we are going to do in a short moment. So beneath here are very stiff springs. You see them over here. These are the springs, and these cups are actually seated on top of here like that, and there on top of is the camshaft. So what we're going to do now is we need to take apart all these caps. So if I'm correct, it's 13 millimeter. First of all, get them all like loose. And that's why I like the slapping method, because it just works. You just need to slap in the right direction. As you can see that these valves are pointed to me and upwards. This one and this one are pointed down. So the most stress is now coming from this side and this side. That means these caps don't have stress on them, but this one and this one will actually be like twisting the camshaft. In that way it can break. So what I like to do is I feel like I turn them loose, and these are just, look, you can just freely turn them loose. And now you get to some of them which are under a bit of stress. Like you can directly see when I undid this one that the camshaft starts to lift, because the spring wants to like decompress the camshaft. So you just slowly, you can also see it over here now. These ones are a bit stiffer, the nuts. So now slowly, you can just undo them. And I like to keep an eye on the top of the stud. So now the studs are all like right on the edge, of the, well, the nuts and the studs are actually like flush with each other. So I first start off by getting them all flush together, and then just turn by turn getting them loose. And in that way you don't break anything, you don't snap off your camshaft. And yes, this takes some time. Oh, that's the rubber cap on the end. That scared me a bit. And I like to just put the caps actually over there, so you cannot mix them up. And there are just enough studs to put them over there. So that's just perfect. So what we need to do now is actually get this camshaft out of there and put it in this one. And then I'm going to explain to you guys how you can adjust the valves, and also do that with the little rubber seals that are on here. These are called hushers, and these will make sure that your engine doesn't tick. And we're actually going to mount the camshaft in here, do all the shimming, do all the valve shimming and everything, and then take the camshaft out again. Then we're going to also take out all these caps. And then we're gonna put the rubbers underneath them, put the caps back, put the camshaft in, and then this head can go on the car, and then we're almost done. So I'm just gonna put that shim back. So there are no rubbers in here now, right now. And the thing we're gonna do is we're gonna put this thing in here, and we're gonna put all the caps back. And then we're gonna tighten it down. So I like to see, like in this way, it's now flat over here. It's always just a little bit of fiddling around and see how it reacts, what you're doing. You have these nuts also with a ring underneath them. These are the nuts with the ring integrated in the nut. Those are better. Like them more than the other one, because otherwise you're just hassling around with loose rings and stuff. But now you can tighten down these a tiny bit, just enough so that it starts to grip. And now press it down over here, get that nut on there. And yes, this is sketchy as hell, because now there's so much tension on here and it actually wants to snap. So you want to get these nuts on these nuts. You want to get these nuts on there as fast as you can. So this one is also gripping now. And as you can see, this one, it as soon as it catches the thread, you can see that these ones are freed up. And now this one actually does grip, but this one doesn't. We're gonna try to get them all on there. Maybe if you tighten these ones a bit more. Now it grips. And now you can just slowly, one by one, tighten all these nuts down, and you don't need a torque wrench just yet. Okay, so what we have right now is a mounted camshaft. So I've all just hand tightened these nuts, and you can see that it's all good enough done for now. So the sprocket that went on here, we're gonna put that back for now, so we can turn the camshaft. We have put some oil on here, so it should go a bit smoother now. That's better. So what we're gonna do right now is we have these two valves are open. And I am using a tool. And yes, you need this tool if you want to do this valve job. This is a hook. And it's not being made again. So this is from Midlock number 13131. This thing has 2 grooves, as you can see, if you look over it. And the middle groove is actually going between those valve cups, and the side grooves press it down. So you can hook it over here, then you can hook it down, and what it does, it now presses down the cups, so I can go in between there with my screwdriver, whip open those the shims underneath there, and then change out the shims if I need thicker ones. So I like to valve shim these engines on 0.30. That means that I need to get my valve shim set tool thingy, my measuring gauges, 3.0 and 4.5 and 5, so we can swipe away those. And we need to make sure this one fits. So as you can see, 0.3, 0.4, 0.35. So the question is now, which one fits? That one fits. That one fits. This is 3.0. So there are apparently 2 wide. 3.5 fits. 3.5 also fits. 0.4 is actually passing through here. So we need thicker shims in there for the best performance of the engine. So I'm gonna turn around the valve so the corners are actually on the right spot for me to whip them out. Now I'm gonna press them down. And now we need to make sure that we get those valve shims out of there. So there it goes. So what you do now, you should take this shim out. So this is 0. These are now clean. And you measure them, and they are 395. But I have this thing. So we have 395. Then you go 405. Then you have 41, I'm guessing. 415. So now you're gonna go and pick a thicker shim. So you went from 395, and I think if we put a 405 in there, it should be pretty okay. So I'm just gonna put in this shim, and also this. Sometimes they just snap in place, and sometimes you just let your valve, let the camshaft push it in. This thing spins, and that should be spinning, because actually these are tapered a bit sideways, and these cups are spinning while the engine is running. So what you do right now is you take your sizes again, your measuring tool, and 0.4 was fitting, and now it's stuck. So 0.35 still goes freely. That means we are now at 405, so we need a 4010. 410. Nice. But as you can see, this is 0.3, freely, not grabbing or anything. And this one, 0.35. This one doesn't go underneath there. So this is now done. This valve, you grab like a permanent marker, and you can also just make like a line over there, so you know that this one is now okay and done. And now you can just do all of them, get them all shimmed out, all done, and then you're done. Then you can take out the camshaft, pull the caps off there, put the rubbers back in there, and then you can put your whole cylinder head back in the car. So just a quick video on how you can change your studs on your engine. These are the exhaust manifold studs. And as you can see, Robin is putting the original exhaust manifold nuts on there. You tighten them against each other. And then on the lowest nut you can turn, and you just turn out the complete stud. And then over here we have a bag of brand new studs and a bag of brand new copper nuts, and that will make this engine even prettier and better. So the cylinders are clean, the light is out, so we're gonna grab a new battery. Milwaukee, please sponsor me. I think we're ready. Where's the air compressor? One last time. So we have a new head gasket all ready to go. That is exactly why we did that, because there was a ton amount of oil still in there. But if there is oil in those passages where the bolts go, the problem you will have is that the bolts will compress that oil and your bolts will break. So always be careful with oil in the lines over there. Oh, dit gaat niet goed. No, I was picking it up with my hand blocked. Oh. Plop. Okay. All right. Okay, now we have the dirty job of putting the bolts in. And I'm gonna do something which might seem weird, but they say that this needs to be done. Like a little bit, tiny bit of oil on there. So I just put oil on there, twist it in a towel and put them in there. As you can see over here, there are two types of cylinder head bolts, and we need to do a first step. Wait, lay type. We have lay type. First step 15 pounds, then 45, and then a quarter of a turn, so 90 degrees. So that's how we're gonna do it. 15 is first. So we're gonna take our small torque wrench that is around there. So into and then they say 45, so we're gonna go to 45 foot-pounds. This thing is so snappy. The sound is so horrible. So that's that, and now they say another quarter of a turn. So the thing I like to do for that is I grab a white marker and a bigger torque wrench, and the thing I do is I mark all the bolts from top to bottom halfway down, because some torque wrenches have a 45-degree angle on there, which you can look at, but some don't. Look in there and you can see the lines, and we need a quarter of a turn. So if the line is horizontal, then it means we're golden. So that's what we're gonna do now, and this is the most scared thing that I've ever done on anything in my life. Even though I have done it a million times now, it's still freaking scary. But we're just gonna go for it. So that means if we put the wrench in the up position, it should be all the way to the right. That's 100. That means we need to do more. And well, I just like to put it on like 120. This is far enough for me. trying to keep it as steady as you can. So no, like, not like pull it many times. I just like to do it in one pull, even pressure, and make sure you're standing safely. So I'm just going to show you guys how the bolts look right now, and that's like this. So we mark them off from top to bottom, and now they're 45 degrees. This one slightly less. So you can see there are differences in there, but one thing is sure, we all tightened them 120 Newton meters, and that's why I don't really trust the way they say for 90 degree angle. I keep saying 45 degrees, I think. So yeah, Robin pointed me out. I keep saying 45 degrees, but I mean a 90 degree angle. You can get the point. If you do a 90 degree angle on each bolt, you still get different torque specs, because you don't know how much it has been torqued before and stuff. And on this way, you know that each one is now 120 Newton meters tightened, and that's how we like it. So for now, we're gonna mount everything else on the engine. I did realize that I made a mistake by putting on the gear, because we need to put the cover back. So we need to take off the gear again, but that's okay. The next step up is Robin can put on the timing belt, the valve cover and stuff. We can put on the intake, we can put on the exhaust, and eventually when that's all done, that's all just straightforward jobs that you know how to do, because we just show you how you can take them off. Use some liquid gasket in the corner over there when you put on the valve cover, and just let's roll the time lapse. I will see you guys when we put on the timing belt. So guys, last things to do. Of course, mounting the exhaust manifold is not a difficult task. Mounting the intake manifold is not a difficult task either.
Don't forget the sensors on the bottom.
Yeah, don't forget to plug in the sensors. Don't forget to plug in the heater hose on the rear of the cylinder head. That's all pretty straightforward. Yeah, you have your water hoses, you have your thermostat housing, and you have your manifold with all the studs that you either replaced or just reused, and that's pretty much it. Valve cover is on with a new valve cover gasket like you just saw on the time lapse. It's all very straightforward, but now we have something important to do, and that is timing the engine. So to be clear, you have 3 gears. You have cam gear, ignition gear, and crankshaft gear. So those 3 need to be all aligned, and that is a very important step. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna take this lamp, put it a bit higher so you guys can hopefully watch it with me. And now we have 3 gears to time. So what we're gonna do is I'm gonna take you guys off the stand, and I'm gonna show you guys where all these marks are. So first of all, I've made them orange over here. We have an orange mark, and you'll see the little plastic like nook over there, like the little plastic ridge on the top, and that needs to line up with this mark. If you open your valve cover, or if you even have it open still, you can see that the valves are both open. So that's the valves are closed, so the camshaft is over there and over there. That's also good. Now, what do we have left? We have an ignition gear that is over here. There is a mark on the side over there, and I hope you guys can see that this lighting, but if I shove you down in there, you can see that this mark is aligned with the mark on the right side. The thing I do is I mark them up, and then I make an extra mark over here, as you can see on the top, so I don't have to dive in the engine bay to see it. And on the bottom, you don't have a mark. But there's a trick, because if you use the ring which sits over here and which snaps into place, because there is a little guide area on there, you can see that this thing also has a little bit of a notch in there. You can see that on the top, the orange notch over there. That needs to line up with this rib on the housing of the engine. So now the whole engine is timed. The thing you can do wrong is that you mess up the timing on the bottom. The thing how you do that is, I'm gonna give Robin the camera. So what I'm gonna do is, I'm just gonna grab my thumb and I'm gonna push it over, like on top of the, or just your finger, push it inside of the spark plug hole on the first cylinder. And then you can like turn your engine and you can hear it blow. So if I do it like this, you can hear it push against your finger. That means that you are on the compression stroke. And that's what we need. So there are multiple strokes on an engine. You have one that sucks and you have one that blows. And you need the one that blows against the top of the engine, which makes compression. And then when it's on its highest compression, you need the spark to ignite the fuel. So I hope that's clear. Just match this one on top, that one on the side, and the lower one with the housing. So before you start, you put your 15mm nut on there. You get your 15mm wrench in your tire iron or breaker bar or crowbar or anything else, and you just press the thing over there. Take your little pin out which was holding the spring in and just tighten it like that. And then you can take your belt, make sure you're on the right mark. So that this mark is going to go over there. It's okay to turn it because we have marked it on the top, which makes it very much easier to do all this. Now we're going to mark up the bottom. And now we're going to go to the top. Now we can do one last check. That is still in line with the notch. This one is still in line with the gear below there. And if we get that ring we just had, we can push on the ring, the notch, and check how this marks up. Looks great. So what we can do then is actually get the pressure on there by the tensioner. You can take your breaker bar, and I like to give it a little bit of a flex to see how it reacts. You can also do it with your hand, and then you can just tighten this, and then we need a torque wrench to torque it down to spec. So we're gonna go 37 foot-pounds. 30. We've turned the engine over a couple times, everything is mounted correctly, and now we should be able to put the lower timing gear cover on there, the plastic cover, which Robin has over there. So we're gonna put that one on there, and then we can put on the lower crankshaft pulley, where also the belts are on, and then we can mount the top cover, the water pump, everything else, the fans, and go on. So hit that time lapse. So guys, first test without the belts and cooling and everything. Hit her up. Perfect. Let's build her up. Let's finish her. Listen to that. Sounds wet. No, but listen how quiet that engine is. Just with those valve hushers and everything adjusted right, they can run so smoothly. Perfect. Okay, I am wet now. I think that's some old coolant maybe. So yeah, that's a fresh head swap. That's it. So guys, final part of the video. It's almost 10 o'clock in the evening. And yeah, Robin is hugging some Volkswagen tires. Engine is done, you've heard it, it runs perfectly fine. I did cut some pieces out of the video which are just unnecessary to film and to have in here, otherwise it will be a video that was like 3.5 hours long. So I hope I have gone fully in depth of how to change a head gasket. We have done everything up to spec, everything is nicely done, the engine runs perfectly fine, and this car will be golden for the upcoming 5 miles. 500,000 miles. The test for this car will be driving home, because it's I think an hour drive to your home. So, and for Dutch terms, that's a far drive, because in 2 hours you have seen the whole country. So I hope you guys liked this video. If you have any tips for future videos, yeah, leave it in the comments. If you like this video, leave it in the comments and leave a like. And if you like what we do, if you like rolling heritage and the whole principle of my company, shop, I want to call it, of keeping old classic cars on the road on a nice budget, then subscribe. And if you're in the Netherlands and if you need a job done, welding, anything engine related, any brand, give me a call and we work something out. Thank you guys so much for watching. Robin and me signing out. We're going home. Bye bye. Thank you so much.